A Louisville activist accused of shooting at a local politician has been released from jail after the local Black Lives Matter chapter posted a $100,000 bail. 21-year-old Quintez Brown was arrested, charged with attempted murder Monday after he fired multiple shots into the campaign office of mayoral candidate Craig Greenberg. Fortunately, Greenberg was not struck by gunfire, but just 2 days after the incident, Brown is free. Senator Mitch McConnell lashed out at the bail fund that got him out on the Senate floor yesterday.
This is just jaw-dropping. The innocent people of Louisville deserve better.
Joining me now for more on this, Rebel Communications CEO Laura Fink and Moms for Liberty, Quisha King. Quisha, let's start with you. Does it make a difference? Does it matter who bails him out?
I don't think it matters of who bails him out. I do find it interesting that he did, that the judge issued an allowance of a bailout. I don't know. I'm not an attorney or a judge, but I don't know how all that works. But the fact that he could be bailed out, seeing as though he attempted to murder a human being, let alone a mayoral candidate, is astonishing to me. I find it despicable, and I'm sure that the people who live in the neighborhood that he's going to be going back to are not happy that this person who attempted to murder someone will be roaming around their neighborhood.
Laura, does this undercut the BLM mission and cause by bailing him out?
You know, I think bail reform is certainly something, and it was something at one point that both Republicans and Democrats agreed on. We have a system in this country where you can make bail if you are, in fact, wealthy. The judges set that bail. So the question is did he, should he be out on the streets or not? That's up to the judge. The question of who pays for it. I mean, you don't see the same people upset over this bail as of those that crowdfunded the January 6th violent insurrectionists. You don't see them getting upset about that bail. I think in general, we need to look at the bail structure entirely, because the majority of people that are in jail right now, generally speaking, have committed nonviolent offenses and just can't afford to make that bail. So the bail system really uneven. I think, you're watching Senator McConnell play politics with this. We haven't seen him in a froth over anybody wealthy that has committed a violent crime and gone out on bail. And we haven't seen him say anything about the crowdfunding done for January 6th insurrectionists.
The other case I thought of, Quisha, was Kyle Rittenhouse. I remember there were people complaining about the fact that there were celebrities, the MyPillow guy, who helped pay for his bail. Is this an issue?
First of all, the January 6th, I don't recall there being people who murdered or attempted to murder anyone during January 6th, let alone bullets flying at candidates.
There was a police officer that was struck down.
Our mayoral people, elected officials. So the idea that these two things are the same or similar is astonishing to me. That's a bit different. But I think that these two things are separate. I think that Mitch McConnell was right, although I don't agree with Mitch very often on this instance. He's right. This person is now going to be allowed back into the community, and would anybody who's saying that it's okay for him to be out on bail, would you want him back in your community? It's very easy to, when you're sitting afar and looking at this, when it's not your community that this person is coming back into, it's easy to make these types of lofty ideas to say, okay, well, yeah, let's have him released back into the community. I think we have to be careful when we are thinking about the people who this will actually affect.
Laura, is the question then, should this bail have, he's going to get bail unless he's held without it. If wherever it's set, there's a possibility he's going to be able to pay it. Is it a matter of whether he should have had bail or who paid it?
I mean, I think that's the question, and we've addressed the who paid it in my last answer. But in terms of whether he should have bail, I mean, that was set by a judge. He now has an ankle bracelet and is being monitored and is under house arrest. And so I just think if you're going to look at this case and get upset about the amount of bail or who paid it, you got to look at the whole bail system, because this is not an isolated incident. This is reflective of a system where that is inherently unfair and inherently favors wealthy folks. So but you can't put your microscope on this alone as an isolated incident. You've got to look at the full system. That's up to the judge. The judge clearly thought he was not violent enough or could be contained. And so what factors led, we don't have all that information. So I don't have an opinion on that. But I do think, you got to keep communities safe.
There's another wrinkle in this case. Let's dive a little deeper into this, because this suspect is a known activist against gun violence, and he was on MSNBC talking about the cause not too long ago.
This is a gun violence issue because gun violence does not affect schools, but communities, churches, clubs, everywhere. Yep. So at school, it's very hard to feel safe now because it's like a war zone.
Quisha, I guess the bigger question, Quisha, is what happened to this guy? I mean, how did he go from anti-gun violence advocate to shooting at a politician?
You know, a lot of times these BLM people, they are so inculcated into their thought bubbles that they're not really, they're sort of isolated from whatever everybody else is going through. You hear these, they get all riled up, and I think it can make you a little psychologically, you know, make you have a little cognitive dissonance of what's really going on. And so you know, maybe this guy does have some mental health issues to make him go from to such extremes. You know, I'm not sure. I really can't speak to the health of this individual.
That is an issue that I was talking
clearly
about.
There is something wrong here.
Rebel Communications CEO Laura Fink and Moms for Liberty, Quisha King, it's good to have you both. Thanks for the time. Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.